Imposter syndrome, how to break the cycle of self-doubt. Welcome to the School of Self-Worth Live. I'm Sam Osborne, the Self-Worth Guy. Today is episode number 143, and today I'm reviewing a Forbes blog article entitled Imposter Syndrome, How to Break the Cycle of Self-Doubt. And I really like this one. This is probably about the 20th blog or video of somebody else's that I've been reviewing on imposter syndrome this month. And we're going to get right into it. I'm just going to share it on my screen. Here we go. Imposter syndrome, how to break the cycle of self-doubt. So let's just have a look at this little article here, read the story. She says, I have to say who it's by. This is by Melody Wilding, and she is a Forbes contributor. Let's check out the little story that she intros to her article. She says, Angel was working as human resources administrator for a city agency when we started working together. Her goal was to move out of her middle management position into a leadership role. She wanted to move away from recruiting and impact city programs on a broader level. When her department was tasked with creating a new diversity and inclusion initiative, Angel offered to put together her department's presentation on behalf of her boss. He happily agreed. Angel's presentation was not only shown to senior executives at different agencies citywide, but was also well received that the city decided to use Angel's work in public advertising to promote the initiative. Angel's boss proudly gave her full credit and openly complimented her to anyone who would listen. In other words, Angel definitely, without doubt, nailed this presentation. When she told me about it, I was thrilled for her. But as soon as I started celebrating her accomplishment, Angel cut me off, saying, "Oh, it was nothing. I threw the presentation together really fast. It actually should have been better." She started poking holes in her success. Her conditioned response was to discredit her efforts and not allow herself to enjoy her achievement. That's because Angel doesn't believe that she's worthy of the praise from anyone, not even her boss. Deep down, she feels like an imposter. So maybe you've been through some experiences of what imposter syndrome is. She gives a definition there that imposter syndrome is feeling that you are an intellectual fraud, that somehow people are going to find out that you don't really know what you're talking about and that you gained your accomplishments or your position at work through luck, or some person made an error and you are just waiting for people to find out that you are faking being who you are. And self-doubt can certainly be a part of imposter syndrome, and you basically minimize yourself. And I've come to find that imposter syndrome has a lot to do with feeling that you deserve success, or that you deserve to be yourself, or that you deserve a little bit of praise, or that you deserve to tell yourself that you're actually pretty good at what you do and that you deserve more. So I think a lot of imposter syndrome comes around a lack of self-worth and feeling that you don't have much self-worth. Let's keep looking at this article. And let's see, imposter syndrome has a few distinct characteristics. It can, in addition to crippling self-belief that you don't deserve your success or that you couldn't replicate it, you are also unable to internalize positive achievements, like to really feel that you can say, yeah, I deserve my achievements. I put in the hard work, and you really believe that inside of you. Most people who experience imposter syndrome, they can't do that, and they just sort of downplay any compliments. And let's see what else. Understanding the imposter syndrome cycle. Basically, it starts with any new position that you might be going into, new environment, new situation, or you could be in the same situation that you've been in for many years, and it just brings about a response of, oh shit, people are going to find out that I'm a big fake, and it can really cripple people. It can bring on the self-doubt, and that can hold you back. You can either procrastinate, put off, or you can try to aim for perfectionism, and you try to overdo it, as Melody is saying right there. And here's the catch that she says: because in reality, you are actually smart and do good work, Your imagined worst case scenario never happens, but you keep telling yourself that it is going to happen. That's imposter syndrome. So there's a bit of self-deception going on here. You could reframe it and say that you are you're trying to avoid dealing with self-worth issues, or you are trying to avoid acknowledging that you actually have an incredible amount of value to other people in the world. And that can be scary to acknowledge your power. And imposter syndrome could be a very clever disguise or thinking process or a cycle that people use, that maybe you use, so that you don't ever have to go through the feeling of, holy smoke, I've found my power, I've found my authentic self, go and apply it in the world. That can be scary for a lot of people, to actually step outside their comfort zone and to become an agent, an independent, or to become autonomous, to say, I'm going to stand by what I believe in, and I'm going to say no, thank you, to the things that I don't. And that's just, I'm going to go around being like that in my life. And I think that's a really healthy thing to do, rather than always trying to be a people pleaser or hold back and downplay what you really do, or deserve the success. Lots of other things. All right, let's look at her ideas on breaking the imposter syndrome cycle. Number one. Now, I've noticed this one in a couple of Forbes magazines and in other articles. People say remind yourself with a rubber band. That means to put a rubber band or elastic band around your wrist, and to, every time you feel like you are overthinking or feeling like an imposter syndrome, is to cause a little bit of pain and pull that elastic band and say, stop. Maybe that works. I'm not recommending that, but this is what this article is saying. She also there says, say hello to your stories. So yeah, definitely notice when your imposter syndrome story comes up, give it a title. Okay. Mine used to be, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this. Whatever it was, I was trying to step out of my comfort zone. I had an imposter syndrome. My imposter syndrome story was, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. What will people think and say about me? And that story was a complete fabrication in my imagination, even though I had talent and skill and everyone around me was telling me, you are ready to go and create what you want to do. I believe that you can reframe imposter syndrome to say, I have a fan-frickin-tastic imagination. And if I can imagine that I'm an imposter, I'm not ready, and I'm not worthy of anything, I can definitely imagine the opposite, that I have incredible power, confidence, authenticity, and that I should go out into the world and share that by serving other people and by fulfilling my highest values. She also says, coach yourself. And I really like this. She's got some nice questions. So this is really just to reframe your thinking. She says, ask yourself, when imposter syndrome comes up, ask, how would my best friend or my hero or someone else who is confident respond to this situation? That's a good question, because then you can go, okay, if I was confident, how would I respond to this situation? Another question, if I knew everything would work out, how would I view change? I love that question. It's like, if we assume everything's going to go right, what would I do? And that brings in the creative, playful confidence that I like to encourage people to find. Another question, what can I learn from this? This is a good one. This is a humbling sort of question. If you're feeling like an imposter, you go, okay, maybe I am out of my depth. Maybe I do need to get more skill and knowledge. Maybe I need to organize my knowledge so that I really, really know what I'm talking about, and it links to my values and it links to the people around me that I'm trying to serve, so that I can walk into a room confident and say, I'm going to give it my best shot, and I'm going to feel confident, and I'm going to be authentic with everyone and myself. If I make a mistake, so what, right? Humans make mistakes sometimes. Roll with it. She's got 3 more questions here. You can ask yourself, if you're going through imposter syndrome, when have I handled something like this before? That's a good question. Now, if you do go through imposter syndrome, you can do a list of all the things, your achievements and where you've been successful. But I find that just doing the logical thing doesn't always reduce the imposter syndrome. You need to get some emotional, creative ideas to balance out the logical reasons for why you're actually not an imposter. You need emotional things like create a future story with emotions in it. But I also feel that you need to just sometimes throw yourself into the deep end to go through the embodied experience, which is going to create new emotions, the embodied experience of going through that thing which you fear most. Then you don't need the logical reasons to go, yep, I'm actually really good at it. You'll have an experience that will say, I am damn well good at what I do. 2 more questions. What thought would get me closer to my goals? That's a good one. And what other angles have I not considered yet? Really good article there by Melody Wilding, Imposter Syndrome, How to Break the Cycle of Self-Doubt. I hope people have enjoyed this. And if you've enjoyed it, I've got a free gift for you. It's called Crush Imposter Syndrome Forever, the starter kit for bulletproof confidence. And you can get it at samosborne.com/starter kit. And I wish everyone a great